Welcome to another episode of From the Street. I am your host, Carl Waterstreet, and I'm running for Door County Sheriff. It's kind of my way to vlog some of my experiences, kind of give you an idea of what I'm all about and the things that I can bring to you as a Door County Sheriff, and kind of give some insight into some neat experiences that I've had in my career, and some of the things that I can bring forward, and just share some stories. Sometimes it's just fun to talk about this stuff, and almost therapeutic in a way. So if you listen to the last couple episodes, I talked about the times, like the field training from I first started. I talked about the homicide that happened in my first year, and now we kind of move on a little bit, talk about some experiences I had and some near-death experiences. Quite honestly, it's not that it was overly tragic or anything like that. It was just the near sight of, they teach you in the academy that you have to really pay attention to your surroundings. And when you're a young officer, you get so enamored by all of the glitz and glamour and stress of, am I going to do this right? I'm being watched. Is there anything that's going to happen to me? And you're so focused on sometimes the things that don't matter that you really miss the obvious. And one thing that they preach in the academy is know your surroundings. Up, down, left, right, everywhere around you. So there's one night, I don't know, I had a couple years on, brand new, and I worked the night shift, and my sergeant at the time, who was later chief, wanted to have a squad meeting. And so he was off duty. He decided he was going to come in and have this meeting, and all of us, the rest of the shift was working at the time. He was the only one off. And so a call came out, and everything was broadcast over the radio. It's a little bit different now, where we have the computers in the cars, and a lot of the information is broadcasted through our computer-aided dispatch. Dispatchers still will give a call out, but most of every detail is in the computer itself. So when the officers are on the street, you can really see what's going on with the call in real time. The dispatchers enter it in real time. Well, in the early years, when I was first on patrol, we didn't have that ability, and so dispatch had to give us every detail over the air. So the sergeant was coming in on duty and had his radio on, and heard that we had a domestic disturbance at an apartment complex not too far away from his house, actually. And when we were all approaching the residence, he came up, and it was kind of funny because it was dark, and he was wearing a flannel shirt and jeans at the time, and I didn't really know who it was, so it kind of startled me to begin with. And then saw that he identified himself, and we then established a plan on what we were going to do. What happened was the guy was battering his girlfriend or wife, I don't remember at the time, and kind of somewhat barricaded himself into his apartment complex. So there's really no good way to get into this apartment complex. It was a 2-story apartment complex. And so we had the building surrounded. We were trying to develop a plan and figure out what we were going to do. And I was on the back side of the apartment. And I, being brand new, I didn't know the aspect of the apartments, like the layout of the apartments. So I'm standing on the corner, and I'm just kind of looking around, waiting to hear what the plan was going to be. And all of a sudden I hear, a real calm yet assertive voice. And think about this being the dead of the night, real quiet, not a lot going on, no traffic, no anything. You can really hear a mouse running across the concrete. And I hear, if I had a gun right now, you'd be dead. And there was I was confused. And I looked up, and here I was standing on the outside of the suspect's apartment, right above the balcony. And as I looked up at him, he was staring right down at me. I have no idea how long he was there. I have no idea how much he was watching me, what was going through his head to plan, what convinced him to make that comment. Thank goodness he didn't have a gun on him. But that was definitely one of those wake-up calls where you're like, yep, up, down, left, right, all around. And one thing that I emphasize now when I do training and things like that, to make sure that your surroundings are all watched and looked for, especially in that situation. So when he made that comment to me, it alerted the other officers who then went to charge into the apartment complex. So when they busted the door down, they were greeted by a table and a broom that were kind of like wedged across the small little hallway. And when they made entry into the apartment complex, it was just a large crash. At the time, I have no idea what was going on. I was on the backside of the apartment, and a bunch of screaming and the crash, and I didn't know where the door was, how to get into the backside of the apartment. Here I'm supposed to be covering that, so in case he comes out. So now I'm worried about he's going to jump off this balcony, and here I'm going to be the only one out there. So I mean, adrenaline starts taking over, and I'm getting all nervous, and all of a sudden I hear on the radio that they got him into custody. So it ended up being a somewhat peaceful resolution, but a moment that I would never forget. This had to be 2002, maybe-ish, 2003-ish, probably 2002, early 2002. It was just crazy. And to think about, like, the very basics, and here I am, like, not paying attention the way I should have been. Typical rookie move. It's just something you don't realize, and something that you carry with you for the rest of your career, because it's those moments that you really never forget. And, and as I carried on into my career, and eventually in 2003, I was sent to instructor school and firearms instructor school, so I could teach basic law enforcement firearms, and to be able to preach and think back to that scenario when we were talking about the training aspect of things, and the really being aware of your surroundings. And that scenario just keeps coming back to me every time I start teaching it. Just never forget his voice. If I had a gun right now, you'd be dead. And as you look up, and yep, you're right. Like, you want to call him out and say, hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. So, yeah. So, a lot of things that you learn throughout your career, and that you talk about eventually, it really hits home, and something you carry with you for the rest of your career. And I really appreciate you guys hanging with me for these videos. And I don't want to take up a lot of your time. Sometimes I do get long-winded, and when I'm describing these things, it's not about really prolonging this any longer than I have to, and making things kind of stretched out just for the sake of that. I just want to get my stories out there, and say hi to you guys every week, and hope for the best for everything. So thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of From the Street. We'll be back next Thursday. For this week, we are going to Mayfest on Saturday, so make sure you look out for the Water Street for Sheriff campaign. We got some surprises we're going to be shipping off to everybody as some little treats, and it's going to be a fun experience. So thanks for tuning in. If you want to reach out, it's waterstreetforsheriff.com, or you can email me at carlforsheriff@gmail.com. So until next week, stay safe.